All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rec Play. This is going to be fun. It's the first time we're doing stuff on Zoom and also on Instagram at the same time. We have our special guest. Her name is Devina Kaur. As you can see over here on Zoom, I did this like background that kind of has a little animation. And today's topic, it's all about self-acceptance. And we're going to be talking about self-acceptance in various ways, specifically on how we perceive ourselves, how we put ourselves out there with social media, whether it's in our business as well. But before we do all that, why don't we get a better understanding? What do we get to know who is Davina? So Davina, hello, welcome.
Hi. So,
Hi.
Patrick, just so you know, the Instagram is echoing. So I just want to just quickly do something, and I do apologize to everybody, but this is technical glitch where I am not tech savvy. That's why Patrick is here. So can I just come and fix something, Patrick? Can we pause, or can we just have this part of the show?
just go for it. What do you need to do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It's the fact that the Instagram is iffy. So I have to do something. You need to okay. So Patrick,
Yep.
I had to send you a request for Instagram all over again.
Okay.
If you could just check that, and then I can kind of go around it. Okay, and then I have to turn it the other way. Yay. Hello.
Your camera is off for Zoom.
It's not on Zoom. I think these are the technical glitches, right? Yay!
Part of the process, I guess.
It is, and we learn every time.
All right. Okay, so Davina, why don't you take this time and introduce who you are, what do you do, what is your whole brand about?
Yay, thank you so much for everybody who's here. Thank you, Patrick, for making this happen. So I run this brand called Sexy Brilliant. We are a nonprofit foundation, and I am somebody who's born and raised in India to a very, very conservative family where even mentioning the name sexy is like a taboo. And Sexy Brilliant happened because of me overcoming addiction. And many of you may not know this story, so I'll just quickly say it, that at one point when my arranged marriage ended, I fell into a dating addiction. And really, like from there, just like looking for love, looking for somebody to save me. And that's where this journey of Sexy Brilliant happened, because when somebody would ask me, how are you? It didn't matter that I had like $5 in the bank account. It didn't matter that I had just quit investment banking to walk dogs. And that I was a full-time single mother, or that I was so fat that I just considered myself unlovable. I was also suicidal. I was very like depressed. But no matter how I felt internally, I would always say that I am sexy, I am brilliant. And that sort of became my mantra when I was struggling with so low self-esteem, no confidence, body confidence, nothing. And then here we are 2 years later, 3 years later, of just kind of as a business, as a foundation, even as my personal branding, not figuring out what I'm doing, not knowing who I am, not knowing where this is going. No, not, by the way, to anybody who's thinking about a business or a brand, nobody knows what the next step is. Like literally, you just have a vision, and that vision comes from how well you know yourself, your purpose, and then practice radical self-acceptance. So here I am 3 years later. I have a published book. I have our newly launched radio show. I have a podcast that Patrick's helping me with. And, there's this brand. We're a nonprofit foundation. And it is such a huge, sense of personal achievement, because I didn't know what I was doing. I have like 10 degrees from university because I was always struggling to find my purpose. And then it's only through overcoming darkness. It's only through overcoming toxic shame of having an addiction, of being a single mother, of being fat, or whatever it is. It's by accepting myself for this fat, loud, ambitious person that I am, that I'm here today celebrating this moment with all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Wow. That's quite the journey. You just summarized from your where you're from, everything you went through, and then today. Would you say like today, because like you have these outlets within the internet and so on, did it help you kind of get out of that shell, that toxicity that you were being overcome with?
So sorry, say that question. Ask me that question again, please. I lost you somewhere.
Yeah, I was asking, like, would you say today, no, because you said only like recently that you've seen like all this success come to you, all these things come to you. Would you say it's getting yourself on the internet, being transparent, talking to people, all through self-acceptance? Would you say like social media and the internet helped you kind of like give you this opportunity, this outlet for you to come out of your shell?
Well, to honestly, like, the internet has been around for at least 10 years, more, 20 years. No, maybe 15 years. I don't know. How long has the internet been here, Patrick?
I mean, consumer-wise, yeah, more than 20 years now. But I mean, social media is about like 10 to 12 years.
So, I mean, I've always used the internet, but I don't remember going to talk about like my confidence issues, or going to talk about how fat I felt, or how my mental health struggles. I would have to say that it is only through this having this life purpose of Sexy Brilliant, that having a purpose, that that I can do something. It is just constantly overcoming this mindset, this limiting belief that I am not good enough. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of us have. And I'll give you a very good example, Patrick. So I started out my LinkedIn journey about a year ago, and even though Sexy Brilliant had been around for 2 years by then, I was very reluctant to go to LinkedIn. I always thought it was for professionals. And when I had quit banking, I had just closed down everything because I didn't need LinkedIn as a dog walker. But then very reluctantly, I went to LinkedIn and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think I should share my message here. So I had so you may go to a channel, you may go to a social media. Facebook is different than LinkedIn, and Instagram is very different than, let's say, Twitter. But they all have a way of conveying their message in an audience. So when I went to LinkedIn, I was very reluctant to post something. And I remember my coach telling me, I will guide you what to post. And I looked at him, I said, no, you know what? You don't need to guide me what to post, because I can only be myself. So whether that's on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on Twitter, there's only one person, there's only you. So, whoever is listening in right now, there's only you. And by this knowing who you are, knowing your purpose, connecting to your inner power, then you have to mindfully accept that you are good enough to post on LinkedIn, to start a video log, to start a new business, whatever it is. But it's not constantly, overcoming your own doubts. That's the key.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's, I mean, we've seen this very often, specifically like more in the creator and entrepreneur scene where, people may feel they're not good enough, like posting something out there, like it's, they feel it's a big risk. They feel scared putting it out there. They don't know how people are going to react. whenever they put something out there, they think they're never good enough, so they want to redo it and overdo it.
Yes. And this is something that I have experimented that, you know, let's say I create 100 stories. If you write 100 pieces of content for your social media, I bet you at least 10 of them are going to be good, are going to be so good that you're going to look at them and you're going to be like, wow, I did that. And, you know, another thing, Patrick, is that we are struggling in this world where we're looking for validation from the outside. We're looking for eyeballs from the outside. But somewhere where like our messages are getting lost, even the ones that we feel are important, nobody's looking at them, and we're not getting any likes on our pages, and nobody's coming to our following us, or you know, or we don't have organic social media growth. So one thing that I want to say is, one, social media is designed in such a way that the organic growth is limited, and second of all, the likes and the comments on a page or a post does not equate to your success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key, because success is not just from the outside. It's not just like wearing flowers or how, you know, wonderful the brand is. Success is about who you are inside. So you can have a lot of, there's a lot of, and I'm just going to quickly mention this because it needs to be mentioned. There's a lot of egocentric messages out there. So you have to be careful of who you are, know your purpose. And it comes to, you know, this branding, this big eyeballs, or the radio show, the book. It comes from a spiritual purpose. So I encourage everybody to just connect to who you are and your authentic power, your inner power, self-knowledge. And then, of course, there's self-knowledge is who you are authentically, what you are meant to do in this world, because we are all here for something or the other. And then from there, we have to practice radical self-acceptance, which is about loving ourselves for who we are, loving our darkness, loving our brightness, all parts of ourselves. That's the key.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's definitely accepting all parts or facets of ourselves. You know, like no one's really perfect, and we can't always be perfect out there either. We can't always post something that's going to be like the super well done, polished post, because that's not real. You know, like that's the edited version of ourselves.
Yeah, and I have said this to you, like every time I look at Patrick's work, I always message Patrick. I'm like, Patrick, did you make this graphic? Did you do this? Because I look at it and I'm like, I have the wow factor, right? I'm like, wow, that was so well done. And this is the thing, right? Like Patrick's like, yeah, I did it. And I was like, Patrick, I have to work with you. We have to do something together. And this has been going on for at least 3 months, Patrick, right? Since Pamela's event at Leaders Who Celebrate. And you know, and I look at it, it looks so polished. Patrick's always so calm and so centered. And I'm like, I wish I was like Patrick, right? And then I look at myself, I'm like, well, Patrick is this talented designer and this, you know, this great community with What's Up Montreal, and so many other projects that he does. And then I remind myself, look at what you do. And then I remind myself, why are you comparing yourself to Patrick? Is that better? So this constant, you know, this we're looking at outsiders, we're looking at other people, and we're comparing ourselves. But the only competition is you in the mirror, mm-hmm. You yourself in the mirror.
There's a very interesting point, because again, someone who, like I work with a lot of content creators. It happens very often where, you know, people will compare each other to each other. Like they will compare with someone else and they'll be like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good, but I will always question them. I will push them to challenge themselves and say, wait, that company has been, or that brand has been around for X amount of years. You just started. How can you be at their level if you just started doing what you're doing today?
I know, and 100% with you on that. And as somebody who's got this very powerful, sexybrilliant.com, this logo, this branding, I have to say this, like the first thing I ever did was, even before figuring it out, I registered sexybrilliant.com. Like, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to register sexybrilliant.com. And it is true that I created the next step of writing a book or making it a foundation or trademarking it or whatever it is. So, we all have unique talents. We all are gifted in different ways. We have incredible amounts of power within us. And we just have to stay true to our own purpose. But most importantly, remember that no part of you is your own enemy.
Mm-hmm. I want to shift the discussion to going to seeing like what has been like the recent trends that we've been seeing online. For example, for so many years before this whole social media came to place, we would often look at ourselves in trying to find ourselves in mainstream media, trying to find ourselves in what let's say what the models look like, or what is represented as being the vision or the mood. And now with social media, we've been able to really push forward diversity in every sense of the word, and bringing in you know trying to break those barriers of shame and break those barriers of like segregation, and saying like no, like you want to you're not the conform form of what mainstream tells you, but you're still cool, you're still awesome. And it has made this movement through helping a lot of people in finding themselves through someone's account. So I want to talk to this about you, to kind of seeing what have you been observing, but by looking at this, like have you been seeing in a way an uprising of what's not the conform of the ways. And
Well, so one thing that I noticed, and this is what my observation is. So, with the struggle with COVID-19, working from home, I find people and my audience, especially, I find that, and this is an interesting, this is something that I'm actually currently going through. That the minute I have makeup on, the minute my hair is well done, the minute that I look polished, my audience is not interested in connecting with me. And whereas the other times when I've gone on live video and I've done, just like out on the spur, like in my pajamas, my videos are so popular. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so are we starting to see a shift? Are we starting to like see people actually, audience wanting to connect with the authentic self? And this is a very interesting phenomenon that we're going through. And then I asked myself, I'm like, what the work that I do, who are you doing it for? And what is your brand? What is your personality? And who is the message for? Is it for, the likes? Is it for being popular? Is it actually to help people? So we always have to constantly shift beyond just the surface of it, right? And I did this, and I did a video on this, and I said that, listen, the first day of COVID-19, I said, this time in self-isolation, our layers are going to start coming out, right? Like, we're going to have to peel that cover slowly and see who we are authentically, and who we who we want to be, so that progress and personal development. So as a brand, and for somebody who studied media studies and who's done all of this personal branding purposes, wearing makeup and working from home is not new for me. There, of course, it's different, right? Like, I don't have access to getting my hair done, and that's fine. But then the true power lies in how you are using this opportunity to create a brand, to find yourself, to get clarity on your messaging. And Patrick, to be really honest, that clarity comes from working more on it, like uncovering the layers, as I said.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely emphasize with what you just said, because yes, definitely a lot of people love authenticity. They will love to see someone as transparent, as authentic possible, and that means maybe not wearing the makeup and not getting staying in pajamas. But I mean, for myself, and these opportunities are to like have these open discussions. For myself, I felt like if let's say I'm coming live right now, and if let's say I stayed in my pajamas and I just had messy hair that I woke up with and so on, I just feel my energy falls.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to perform anymore. I'm not able to like speak or do what I'm supposed to do by talking to people. I just feel like it's another one of those days, and I just feel I'm not putting the energy out there. But I do understand how people would love to see the authentic side of you, like the most raw format of you, to because that's what they relate to, right? And if they wanted to kind of see the polished self of someone, they will just open the TV and watch someone, you know, who got dolled up and went in front of the camera.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Like it's just something to learn from and observe from, and ultimately, you know, because we want to talk. I want to mention confidence too, right? Like we spoke about this earlier, and we spoke about how we doubt ourselves. So when I have these doubts, self-confidence doubts, or I struggle with self-esteem, and in fact, this also happens when you have a business failure or you go through a heartbreak. You know, you tend to lose your confidence, and I find that sometimes you need the help of the outside forces to help you regain your balance, your equilibrium. And by that, I mean, like, you know, wearing makeup or wearing lipstick. I mean, this is the first time I'm wearing lipstick literally in like 5 days. Um, and I was like, when I was getting dressed up, I was like, you know, what is happening? And frankly, I am struggling with confidence. I am like, I feel shaken. My mental health is like, there's a lot of anxiety. Some of it is my own. A lot of it is from outside factors as well. So what I find myself doing is when I have these days, like these low days, or these days where I'm like struggling with confidence, I find I need outside resources more. And one of those outside resources are also my therapist. I work with coaches all the time. So I'm like, these are the resources that you want to have in your network. This is your like your, you know, that sack of gold that you carry around with yourself. So reach out to people around you, your family, if you have somebody you can speak to, your friends, a mentor. And in fact, part of this business and, you know, sexybrilliant.com, it is with a lot of mentorship that I'm able to come here. People helping me, you know, literally like holding my hand and helping me to the next step. And then literally somebody else is going to come and grab my hand and help me to the next step. A lot of times that somebody's held my hand, there's a financial transaction in it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because ultimately, you know, your purpose is bigger than the money blocks that we constantly think we have.
Mm-hmm. So before we let you go, Davina, let's look at a little bit what Sexy Brilliant is doing right now. I mean, you started a radio show, you have a book coming out, you have a bunch of things that's happening in your life, even if there are delays or not, but it's still happening. So why don't you talk about this?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm actually very surprised that it has happened is that my first book is out. It's called Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious. And to anybody who's ever written a book or is thinking about writing a book, you know, I just want to share that I am not a gifted writer. English is my third language. And I honestly never thought that I would be a published author. It's like doing your PhD. And here I am, you know, it's published, Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious. And one of the things that I talk about is when you have these doubts that creep up and you're going to think that I'm not good enough to start a business, to go on social media, to, you know, go friend somebody, or to go out for dinner alone, remember to doubt those doubts, because these are imaginary doubts that only you have. But the person in front of you or your social media community doesn't doubt you. We believe in you, and we want you to be successful in whatever you want, your purpose is. And it all comes from self-knowledge and radical self-acceptance.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. We're so super thrilled to looking what else you're going to come up with. And really, like, I hope this will definitely help people to getting out of their shells and just being themselves. And like you said, I think everyone's sexy, so let's just bring our sexiness out there.
Yeah. And Sexy Brilliant, we are a registered nonprofit foundation. And, you know, we've got these, we've got a big community, social media, website. We've got a Telegram channel, LinkedIn. And I mean, we are everywhere. We are a nonprofit foundation. You can look us up with Sexy Brilliant, hashtag Sexy Brilliant. Of course, connect with me on social media. Tell me that you are here because of Patrick, so that Patrick and I can then invite you on our podcast, my podcast, right, Patrick? So, you know, what I want to say is that we are all a community. We are, as human beings, we are the soldiers in this army of love and human consciousness. And I welcome everybody to just say hi, connect, and let's grow together. Your success is my success.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.